Hello everyone, Johnny Mind here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon Snap. Last time we finished Professor Rock's check. We only had the last screen. We heard what Professor Rock had to say when we went back to the lab. Checked out the Pokemon report now that we have unlocked it. We saw that we unlocked a new course and saw its name, the tunnel, read its description. And yeah, we ended with that. So today we'll actually play that new course, the second one. But before that, we have to check this, which is what Professor Rock says when you close, you save and quit the game. We didn't check it before because I didn't take the picture, the screenshot in time, but this time we did, and so we have it here. So yeah, we'll start with that. Most likely at this point I'd say we'll just do this and then immediately start playing the game. We'll check more options on the title screen another time. Yeah, without further ado, let's start. Professor Rock, when you save and quit the game, says Mata 新しい写真を撮ってきてくれるのを楽しみに待っておるからな。First and foremost, we have mata. I think it's unaccented, but we'll check that. It means again, once more, once again. And yeah, it has also other meanings, but this is the fundamental one. And by the way, it's the one, if you say mata, and then usually add the final sentence particle ne, it's the most common way to say goodbye in Japanese. As it's again and then implied see you again. But yeah, here it's just again. But notice how we are still using it in the context of saying farewell in a way. Then we have atarashi. Oops, by the way, I didn't mention the accent of mata after checking it on the dictionary. Yes, it is unaccented. But yeah, then we have atarashi. An adjective should be accented. It means new. All the extended meanings from that, novel, fresh, recent, latest, modern. Yeah, the fundamental meaning is new. And is accented. Then, of course, since it's an adjective and it's not at the end of the sentence, and so we have the noun modified by it, which is in this case shashin, the usual Chinese compound, which means photograph, unaccented, as seen multiple times throughout this series for obvious reasons. Then we have the object particle o, written as wo and pronounced as such in careful speech and singing. Then after that we have our first verb. or even better, we have actually a sequence of verbs, totte, then kite, and then kureru. But first and foremost, we have totte from toru. Again, this is the one which means take, but in this specific case, to take photos. It would use a different kanji if we used kanji to write it compared to the one which means take, to take in general. It's a U-verb, Godan verb, so to make that a form, like in this case, we have to follow the rules. It's in Ru, and so it becomes double consonant te. Most likely was the continuative form ri, and then simply the I fell, and so to te, difficult to pronounce, became double consonant instead. We make that a form in this case to then add kite also in the te form, but it comes from kuru, to come. And so, as we have seen, after the te form, I mentioned before, also I think last episode, that it can also have a temporal meaning, but yeah, in this case, it's in a physical sense. We could also simply translate it as in to take, take and come here. But yeah, the te kuru form of a verb, and also the te iku, so the opposite, iku means to go, simply show the direction in which the action of the main verb, the verb in the te form, takes place. And so here we take the picture and come to walk, who's the one talking, of course, so it's his point of view. Then we make the te form also of these. Kuru is one of the completely regular verbs, and so we simply have to remember that it becomes kite in its te form. Notice that despite being accented, the accent moves then on the te because the I between of ki is between unvoiced consonants, and so is barely heard, if at all. And more often than not, then also the accent moves. So kite, kite. Te form in this case required to then add kureru. We've already seen it, one of the verbs of giving. In this case, it's someone else giving to the speaker, or someone close to the speaker. But yeah, in this case, of course, it's the te form plus a verb of giving. So actually, do the favor of doing the action of the verb in the te form. Kureru, by the way, unaccented. Then we have no. In this case, the nominalizer for verbs. We could also translate it as a fact, or something like that. Again, similar to koto, accent on the last syllable, thing as in matter, contrasting with mono, thing as in an object, and by extension also person or people, but yeah, fundamental meaning of mono, thing as in object. Then we have again the object particle o. After that we have tanoshimini, First and foremost, we have Tanoshimi. I've mentioned it before. That it actually comes from a verb, tanoshimu, which means to enjoy, to take pleasure in, to have a good time, to have fun. It also had, but nowadays it's usually not used as its meaning for the verb itself, to look forward to. While we've seen that its continuative form, it's a verb, Godan verb, so we can change the U into I to make that, and so the corresponding noun, tanoshimi, and by the way, unlike other continuative forms used as the corresponding noun, which are when the verb is accented, it's accented on the last syllable, tanoshimi is an exception because it's actually accented on the C. But yeah, it can simply mean enjoyment, pleasure, and so the usual corresponding noun, the meaning of the verb, but also the one now usually not used for the verb itself, which is anticipation, as in looking forward to something, implied to look forward to also. In this case in particular, we actually have, instead of a noun, it can also be used as an adjective. And so we can add ni, like in this case, to make the adverb. And so in anticipation or something like that, we'll see it, of course, then when we fully translate it. Last but not least, we have this verb, matte, and then also the oru, but we'll see it in a second. First and foremost, we have matte, which means comes from matsu, means to wait, also to await. Should be accented, and it is. It's a verb Godan verb, so to make that form, like in this case, we have to follow the rules. It's in tsu, and so it becomes double consonant te. Again, most likely, first the continuative form ma tsi, then the I fell, so mat on, and yeah, then it became simply the double consonant of the following te. Matte. In this case, also in pronunciation. Also in transcription, you would still write it as a double T. The form in this case is required by, because then we add the auxiliary verb, in this case oru. Oru means to be, as in to exist. In this case, there are other ones, but this one is this verb. You might remember that there's also the verb with the same meaning, iru. Both are the ones for animate things, and so people and animals. For inanimate ones, we have aru instead. Oru is the humble form of Iru. And yes, so we have this form Te Oru, same as Teiru, is the either a continuing action or a continuing state. Well, technically, in this case, you could say either better technically a continuing action, even though he is technically in the state of waiting. In translation, simply to be waiting, so the ing, the verb to be plus the ing form of the following verb. After that, we have kara, which means in this case it's the one used for as a conjunction, because and yeah, it simply still has the meaning, even though usually it's used before, after the verb in the first part of a sentence, and so to say, we have the causative clause at first. In English, you could consider it also as in in the causative sense, or due to first clause, and then we have the main one. But yeah, in this case, we simply have this kara at the end to add the meaning because. And last but not least, we have the final sentence particle na. I'd say in this case simply similar to yo, and so you know, hey. And yeah, with that we can actually translate these. We could say it's because I'm waiting in anticipation to the fact that you'll again take and come here. You'll make me the favor of taking and coming here, taking new pictures, new photos, and come here. So yeah, the meaning is that, well, to say it better, we could say, I'm waiting and in anticipation, looking forward to you taking new pictures again and coming here. And yeah, with that, we have actually checked this, what Oka had to say here. And so now we can actually start the game itself. Oops, sorry. Mistake. Okay. Yeah, I was opening it with my personal profile. We need this one, the one used for the channel, also because the save is here. Yeah, we skip that, the opening. I noticed that we have actually a new option, well, a new entry better in the menu here, because the option options is the one at the bottom, option. This one is Gallery, from English gallery, of course. Notice again first and foremost, the GIA to replicate in a way the ge sound from English. That's how they do it in Japanese, because of course they don't have it. So it becomes GIA. We have seen it also with words from with kya. I could mention, for example, we haven't seen that one specifically, but for example, candy becomes candy. Wanted to quickly check also the accent of that. Oops. Okay. Unfortunately, it isn't present here in the online dictionary plus plugin combo, so I'll quickly get the physical dictionary. Okay, already got both of them in case we need also the other one for counters and so on. But yeah, let's quickly check if we can find it here. Honestly, it's more likely compared to other words. Yeah, there's technically also the variant kyande. Yeah, the one I mentioned, candy, and yeah, both are accented on the first syllable, just like in English as expected. But yeah, this one, gyarari, also notice the first ra, because of course Japanese doesn't have the L sound, and so it becomes the closest one, which is R. And then we have the other one, which is properly Ri. Even though, of course, not exactly the same as English, but it's still an R, also in transcription. And yeah, also this one is accented on the first syllable as expected. We'll actually check this option another time, I'd say, so we can actually start playing the game, as I mentioned, and play the new stage. And yeah, as usual, Professor Rock has been waiting for us. I think we have seen this last time. Let's choose then our course ni iku option, go to course, to then actually choose the tonneru. By the way, actually unaccented, as we have seen, tonneru. We already checked out its description, so we can actually choose and choose the option let's go. Yeah, our protagonist says Yos, so already mentioned. And so yeah, we have our second course. And yeah, that's why I took, by taking the pictures of Pikachu, we got to see him riding the electrode. Okay, we got some photos of the Kakuna there. Okay, yeah, thanks to the explosion, the Kakunas actually fell. So we got to see that. Okay. Okay, should have taken some photos of the Zubat there. We have another Pikachu, even though, of course, then we have that. Even though, if I can get it, actually, we will see that it says, well, unfortunately I wasn't able to do so. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, got it this time. Too bad. But yeah, had we got it, we would have seen that it would have said question mark. Okay, I think I got the Tigret. Perfect. And yeah, by taking all those pictures of Tigret, we can actually get the Dactrio. And actually 2 there. Actually 3 here. Yeah, then we have these Magnemites. But as you can see here, we have a question mark. We have that electrode there. It will be important later. Yeah, I'm not taking more pictures, so we can see the end, get to the end of the course instead of being sent back, because we took all the pictures. Yeah, Magnemite's normal when you don't do anything, but when you get the camera ready, they start doing that. Yeah, with that we have played the second course. We have, as usual, to check our photos here, to choose the one with the Professor Oak mark. Okay, and we get also this. This is a new... Yeah, we'll see a couple of such writings in these sections, but overall they should be all ones we have seen before. This is an exception. Here it says Arubamu Maaku ga Tsukairu zo. First and foremost, we have again Arubamu album. I don't remember its accent. Yeah, it was actually unaccented. While Maku should be accented. This one I do remember, even though we still check. Okay, it is. So the album mark. Then we have the subject particle ga. And then we have Tsukairu zo from Tsukau. Actually, Tsukau should be, as it's unaccented. We've seen it. I'm not sure if in this series or previous ones only. Yeah, Tsukau means to use. Unaccented. Here, it's a U verb codon verb, so we can change the U into E and add RU to make the potential form of the verb. And so, can use. Be able to use. And because of its meaning, tsukau usually would be a transitive verb. But the rule, even though I can tell you that sometimes it isn't followed nowadays because it's of course less convenient following the rule, technically it would be the meaning will be it's capable of being used. The potential form of verbs usually require a subject. What would usually be the object for transitive verbs like tsukau becomes the subject of the potential form of the verb. Yeah, there are. It can also be seen actually still with the object particle instead, because of course it would be more convenient. But yeah, this is technically the rule. And then we have again zo as usual, the final sentence particle, which made thermal language, which adds a force or a command. I'd say also simply force as in emphasis simply. But yes, so far it simply says the album mark can be used then we have Okiniri no shashi no arubamu ni nokoseru ne. First and foremost, we have this expression Okiniri, which comes actually, well, ki. First and foremost, we have the usual O, which is the honorific prefix. Then we have a noun, which is ki. The usual one, in this case unaccented, which means spirit, mind, air, and so on. Yeah, the fundamental meaning is spirit, as in mind, and can be found also in martial arts, as I mentioned before. In Chinese ones pronounced as si because of the qi, because of the further evolution of the Chinese language. Then we have the particle ni, to, into, required by the following iri, which actually comes from the verb iru. Should be unaccented, yes it is, which means to enter, to go in, get in, come in. Other extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is to enter. And nowadays it's used in contemporary Japanese mainly in fixed expressions and literary language. Fixed expressions like this one, for example, because actually the verb which means to enter nowadays in Japanese is hairu. So actually a compound of iru, the verb which means to enter on its own, with this ha before. Actually it should be also from a verb, also seen because of if you how hairu used to be written. Nowadays it's simply used kanji, which means to enter, just like iru. But yeah, originally it used the kanji for how, accented, which means to crawl, to go on all fours, other extended meanings. So technically enter, crawling, but yeah, simply or maybe because it then became figurative, but yeah, simply it's now used hairu to say to enter. It's the actual verb nowadays used as such. Of course, in that case, ha-u, so our verb, Godan verb, we would make the continuative form by changing the u into i to then attach iru, but then it got simply contracted. Ha-i-i-ru, only a single i remained. But yeah, after that, we have our verb iru instead, the original verb to enter. And so, literally, the verb kiniru would mean unaccented, luckily, just like the verb iru on its own, would mean enter into one's spirit, mind, And it's actually in the sense that that you to like, to be pleased with, to be delighted with, to take a liking to suit one's fancy. Funny enough, in a sense, this expression in English is kind of closer to the Japanese structure. But yeah, in our case, then we actually have Iru is despite what it could seem like, it's actually a U verb, Godan verb, instead of despite being in Iru, it's actually separated, or better, Ir, and then U. Its internal structure, and so we can make the continuative form by changing the U into I, like we can see here, Iri, to make the corresponding noun, and so get the expression Kini Iri, and simply it's the corresponding noun. The corresponding noun structure of this expression, Kiniri, or better in this case, Okiniiri, with the prefix usually found as such. And yeah, simply then it becomes favorite, because of the meaning of the Okiniru expression. Yeah, actually also unaccented, also in this case, so following the rules. Technically it's a noun, but by adding the possessive particle no, we can actually make it kind of like an adjective. So favorite something. In this case, the following noun, which is shashin, so favorite pictures, photos. Then we have the object particle o. Then we have again arubamu, album. Then the particle ni, so again to, into. Last but not least, we have the verb nokoseru. Actually from nokosu, which is the transitive form of nokoru. I don't think we have seen maybe nokoru before. Both mean well, nokoru would mean to remain, as in to be left. So nokosu means to leave, as in behind, or also to leave undone. I think we have actually seen before nokosu, because there's also this meaning to save, as in to set aside. And yeah, so it's the meaning that interests us. It's a U verb, Godan verb, so we can change the U into E and then the Ru to make the potential form again. And notice how in this case shashin as the object particle, unlike before. So yeah, nowadays you can use also, you can keep the object particle instead of replacing it with the subject particle, despite the rule and of course because of the original meaning. And so can set aside, can save. And then, of course, we have the final sentence particle ne, as in, let's say in this case, okay. In this case, asking for confirmation. And yeah, the translation becomes so. You implied can save, as in set aside, into the album your favorite pictures, photos. Favorite literally that suiting your fancy, even more literally entering your taste, we could say, to and yeah, so we have this. So yeah, simply the the explanation of the album mark function that we couldn't use before. Yeah, that's why, by the way, last time we had this. We checked this option because now it actually has a different text compared to before. But yeah, first and foremost, then we'll check it also because I'd like to use it. First and foremost, we'll actually use the Hakase Maku, so the professor, doctor in Japanese, even better. As we have seen, Dr. Okido, Orchid's check, the Japanese name of what happens after this. Yeah, we'll choose the photos to show Professor Oak. Of course, we are interested in this case in if I actually took any, because okay, yeah, I took some. Yeah, of course we want one where Pikachu is riding the electrode. This one technically is more in the center, but it's kind of smaller Pikachu, so I'll try this one instead. Then we have to choose an electrode and also to check its name in Japanese, which is Maru Mine, as you can see. This one is easy, even though I'll still check out what Bulbapedia says also, but yeah, Maru should be actually an accented, I think, Maru. We check. Means circle. So in this case, as in technically circle, and so technically sphere, even though there is a better word for sphere, but circle is the fundamental meaning of Maru. And yeah, unaccented. And after that, of course, we have mine. From English, mine. In this case, mine in the sense of a mine, as in the explosive kind of mines. And yeah, no, it's you can see the accent there. So I actually check on the physical dictionary for that, and then I check also Bulbapedia. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, no. It isn't in the physical dictionary either, so yeah. My guess would be simply like in English in this case. Again, Maru, from Maru, and landmine also according to Bulbapedia. Yeah, let's choose one of them. The best ones would technically be the ones where it's exploding. Too bad it's kind of far away there. We'll choose, I'm not sure if immediately after the explosion counts, so we'll try this one. Okay, after that, let's see what we have here. Yeah, first and foremost, we have Ereboo. Electabuzz. Of course, we have first and foremost ere from electricity. In Japanese would actually be from, as it says also here on Bulbapedia, from ereki. Actually an abbreviation of electricity, which by the way is accented on the first syllable, ereki. The full form would be actually erekiteru, accented on the re, so erekiteru, which actually comes from Dutch. And that's why it has that form. Electricitate, I think, something like that. Unfortunately, all from behind, so we get a bad score, but yeah, let's choose at least one in the middle, even though unfortunately it won't matter. Then we have these kakunas. I'll choose this one. Sorry, I didn't mention then also for Electabuzz. I'll go back to it a second, so I also show it again. I didn't mention the boo part. The boo part most likely is from an onomatopoeia. Boom boom. Accent on the first syllable as per the rule. Which is the, in our case, technically has several meanings, but the one that interests us, of course, buzz, as in the sound made by electricity. There's also hum, shaking, but yeah, in our case, buzz, and so yeah. Actually, quite similar to the English name. As I was saying, we have then kakuna. In Japanese, simply cocoon. So yeah, simply cocoon from English. You can actually check the accent of the word itself. Cocoon. It isn't in the dictionary there. We'll check the physical one also. Although based on, I'd say simply like in English. So on the ku in this case would be. We'll see if we can find it, of course. No, it isn't present. There are other ones, but not this one. Yeah, we'll choose this picture. After that, we have Zubat. This one is really nice considering it's how big it is, but yeah, we want one more in the center technically. So I'd say this one, let's try. Of course, I have to go back to show that its Japanese name is Zubatto. So yeah, simply like in English, Zu, in this case, should be, I think, an onomatopoeia. I also check, of course, by comparing it to what also Bulbapedia says. Well, batto is obviously bat from English. That there's absolutely no doubt. Let me see if we can find its accent. yeah, it is batto. Technically more often used instead for the animal, because of course there's a Japanese word for it. Used more for bat, as in baseball bat. Accented on the first syllable. But yeah, then we have this zu, which should be onomatopoeia. No, okay, yeah. It's actually the batto on its own would be bat, but technically there's also the onomatopoeia zubatto. So should be accent on the ba. Also, yeah, because of course again we have the accent on the final part of the final syllable of the onomatopoeia before the to, because the to actually would be technically the quotation particle, and so with zuba. Then we have also that small su, which becomes the doubling of the consonant of the to. But on its own would mean that the vowel before it is also shortened if we didn't add something after it, so suba. Suba. And yeah, its meaning is without hesitation. Other similar meanings, frankly, for example, especially speaking, bluntly, and so on. Also cutting forcefully, directly, piercingly. And yeah, so I'd say in this case could be technically either, but yeah, this without hesitation, figuratively, I'd say in this case, because of course you then it's a bat that would show up in caves, as we have seen in mainline Pokemon games, and shows up immediately. But yeah, we've chosen this picture for it. Yeah, this was actually our mysterious ball, which would have been marked with a question mark if I could, had I been able to put the camera exactly there. But yeah, when you take the photos, it actually shows that it's a haunter. Simply called in Japanese Ghosuto. So of course from ghost. Technically, well, first and foremost, of course, like that, it's straight up ghost from English, and it's how you would say it in Japanese by using the English word. Should be accented also on the, yeah, on the first syllable is expected, so ghosto. It's worth mentioning, although, that I think, I check by opening it, that if I recall correctly, the Japanese name of ghastly is actually gosu. So simply ghost, but without the to at the end. But of course also in reference to its it being made, its gas nature of ghastly, as also seen in the English name. But yeah, worth mentioning that. Let's see if we can find a decent picture. That one was slightly too high. Yeah, this is the most in the center, but I'm kind of afraid of. Okay, let's try to get that one is. This one is too less. Okay, we'll try this one, even though it's not exactly in the center, but everything else should be fine at least. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, then we have Diglett. Perfect. This is, of course, our picture, but before choosing it, we'll check its name. Digda in Japanese. Of course, from dig, from English. And I think that's it. As also, yeah, also on in Japanese, on Bulbapedia it says simply from dig. Yeah, the die is simply an addition. Maybe because it's we repeat the D at the start by changing the vowel. Could be simply like that, Digda. I will choose it. I quickly check, by the way, the dictionary, if I can find the accent of dig on its own. Yeah, no. It's also not shown in the dictionary on its own, but it's interesting because the word digu plus adding the syllable ru becomes a verb godan verb, which means to look for, it says especially music, as in to dig through. So yeah, they made in Japanese a verb from dig by adding a suffix, a verb forming suffix ru to the English word, to of course then also conjugate it. And yeah, there are other examples of that, but yeah, we'll see those when the time comes. Was worth mentioning since I can already seen it here. After that, we have of course Dagtrio, just like in English, Dagu Torio. So Dagtrio. Dag, of course, I won't be able to find it in the dictionary, so I actually search for Torio instead, which should be it's easier to find. And yeah, on its own, trio, actually from Italian, so easy for me. Is accent on the first syllable. Technically, it should be if it followed the accent closely on the ri. But yeah, in Japanese it's actually on the first syllable, so be careful. Torio. Okay, let's choose one. By the way, also, yeah, simply dag. So dig conjugated in English, and then torio, trio. Okay, I want this one would be nice because it's bigger, but of course I'd like to get the bonus point for the multiple ones. And yeah, as you can see, we have seen already this what Ox says here. Yeah, we can't show him these photos. But yeah, I'd say we can actually take. Yeah, we have chosen the Professor Mark. So we'll take our usual break now. after around 5 minutes as usual, we'll be back. We check the album mark function here, the description here, and whatever else shows up when we choose it. Actually, select at the very least one picture for that, and then we'll of course go to the professor and then go through the professor's check, Professor Ox's check. But yeah, with see you in around 5 minutes. So this. And we are back. And yeah, now we'll continue. First and foremost, as I mentioned, with this album mark, by checking this writing here, and then by choosing it and seeing what else it says there. First and foremost, we have this, so Okiniiri no shashi no Pokémon alubamu ni nokosou kana. First and foremost, we have again Okiniiri with the possessive particle no, so favorite something. That something is again shashin, so favorite photos. Then the object particle o. Then we have again Pokémon alubamu, so the Pokémon album. The particle ni. To. And yeah, again, we have after that the verb nokosu. In this case, to leave. To leave, in this case, as in to save, to set aside. But yeah, in this particular case, then we have to change the u into ou, so long o, to make the volitional form of the verb. In this case, I'd say it's the most common meaning, which is let's. Better would become should we, shall we, because of the following particle, or better two particles, ka, na. Ka, as usual, the interrogative one. With this additional na, again, most likely the one that's either, well, could also be the one for kind of an exclamation. But yeah, kana globally means I wonder, or like in this case, should we, combined with the volitional form of the verb. I wonder if we should save into the Pokémon album your implied favorite photos. Yeah, we choose that option. And we have this writing. It says, Dono shashin o arubamu ni nokosou kana? We stop here for now. First and foremost, we have dono, which is again one of the koso ado words. Ko, close to both the speaker and the listener. So, far from the speaker, close to the listener. A, far from both. Do, like in our case, the interrogative. And so, accent on the first syllable. The other words with koso a are usually unaccented instead. By adding no, we make the interrogative for the adjective. So, which, followed by a noun. Which photo? Because of course we have then shashin, the object particle o. Then again arubamu, album. Ni, to, into. And then again nokosou kana. I wonder which pictures, which photos we should save into the album. Then we have E, of course we have the icon of the E button. The miru simply stops there. Miru, to see, to watch, to look at. The particle, which means with in this case, and so that means so look at the photo. Of course, in this case, there's currently selected one, or in general, could be with the A button. After that, at the bottom, we see between those suspension dots ato rokuju mai no koseru na. First and foremost, we have ato. We've seen it before because it means it's the one again that means it's accent on the first syllable. Can mean behind, rear. Even more often than that, after, later. In this case, it's actually the meaning more, as in, for example, 5 more minutes left. And yeah, as we see in which sense also when we see the rest of the sentence. And so we move on to Rokuju Mai. First and foremost, we have of course Rokuju 60 from Roku 6. Ju Roku should be accented on the last syllable, but of course we'll check again. Ju on the first one. Yeah, Roku on the last syllable. Ju on the first one and means 10. So again, 6 tens, so 60. That's how we make these numbers in Japanese. These are the those of strictly Chinese origin, because as we have seen, the ones of Japanese origin actually stop at 10 technically, usually nowadays used up to, well, technically in some contexts also 10, but more often than not up to 9. For everything else, all the numbers above it, Chinese ones. But yeah, we have so Rokuju. Let's check again the accent of that alone, even though in this case then we'll add a counter, which we'll see in a second. But first, let's go in order. Okay, it's this one. For the number 60, we have Rokuju, luckily accented on the Ju, just like 10 on its own, so Rokuju. But yeah, in this case we had then Mai, which is the counter for flat things, objects. In this case, of course, because if these photos were printed, which is what used to be the case in the past, especially, and also at the time of this game. But it's still used, of course, by extension nowadays. They would be flat and thin because they would be printed on quote-unquote sheets of paper. Mai can be used, is usually used for sheets of paper and such things. Let's check the accent with Mai. I think we have seen it before that it was luckily regular, unlike other numera plus counter combinations, but we'll check it again. I think it was actually before, before the counter, so where it should usually be. And yeah, it is for all the numbers except for Go, which is unaccented. This is a common exception, so be careful about that, but otherwise, luckily, all before it, before Mai, so in our case, Rokuju Mai, so on the Ju. And then, of course, we have again Nokoseru from Nokosu, the potential form. After that, Ana, I'd say in this case maybe more like yo, so you know, hey. And yes, so we can translate it. You implied can save 60 more photos. Photos implied because, of course, of the count, and also as pointed out also by the counter used. But yeah, that's the meaning why we have that more of ato at the start. Of course, if we add, when we choose one, we'll see that it will go one lower. Speaking of, now let's actually try to choose a picture, because of course then we also have additional writings. Luckily the one at the bottom is still the same. Above it we have instead Koreo, arubamu ni nokoso kana. First and foremost, we have kore, again of the koso ado series. With the re, it's the demonstrative pronoun, so this. Then we have the object particle o. We have again arubamu, the album, ni, in, into, because then again we have nokoso kana. I wonder if we should save this into the album. Then we have the answers, either well, for the A button, kore da. We have seen is another way to say yes in Japanese. I'd say somewhat more colloquial one compared to the fundamental one, which is hai. I think I mentioned before also another one, which is e. Should be also accent on the first syllable. Hai is accent on the first syllable for sure. We have already seen it. Yeah, and e also. Also in this case, then of course we have kore again, so this, and then we have da, so the copula in plain speech. So the translation, yes, it's this one. For B, instead we have chigau na. I think we've actually seen these answers before. Most likely for the actually the professor mark. I didn't pay attention to it this time because we've already seen them. But yeah, in this case we have chigau, a verb which means to differ. So to be different, even though it's a verb, not an adjective. And so by extension also to be wrong, to be incorrect. I'd say here it's yeah, as in no, it's implied a no, it's wrong, and then we have this na at the end. And so yeah, we choose now well then of course we have again ato, rokuju mai, nokoseru na, as I mentioned. Okay, let's find a picture. I wanted to save one of, this one actually. And yeah, there it said kore ni kimeta. Kore again, this, ni, to would be technically we could say to as we see it's actually required by the verb kimeta from kimeru. I think actually an accent so kimeru, which means an accent which means to decide, to choose. So I decided. It's a ru verb, it's a verb, so we can drop the ru and add ta to make the ta form. And so the past form in plain speech. And yeah, so I decided for simply required the ni by the verb, this one. I'd say we can, that should be enough, because the other ones will simply keep them the Pokemon report past, and that's it. And you can see at the bottom that now we can save 59 more because of that. Yeah, I'd say we are good with that. And so we can actually press B. go to the professor. Yeah, we've seen again Yosh says our protagonist. And yeah, we can we get to hear Professor Ox saying "Kore wa." Pretty funny. But yeah, so we actually have this new writing, and these are the additional writings we'll keep on seeing in this section going forward for special pictures. First and foremost, it says "Oh." Clearly simply an exclamation in this case, similar to English "Oh." Of course, also kind of also as in an "oh no" potentially, but yeah, "oh." Let's see, it's accent. Yeah, it's accent on the first syllable as expected. What Professor Oak literally said, as in there was also the voice clip. Kore wa, literally kore again this, and wa the topic, wa written as ha, so the topic particle. And so as for this, here clearly used as an exclamation. Oh, this, and then of course he actually says after that the exclamation marks what it actually is. Tamanori Pikachu Janai ka. First and foremost, we have Tama. Check its accent, but this is actually the word I was mentioning before for ball, sphere, globe, orb. Yeah, accented actually on the last syllable, so Tama. I think we have seen it before in a previous series. Then we have the possessive particle no. And by the way, so in this case, because when adding no, it's an exception compared to other particles, words accented on the last syllable become unaccented. So in this case, Tama accented usually on the last syllable and will keep its accent if we added another particle like wa, ga, o, all the other particles. But with no, it becomes unaccented. Tama no. Sorry, mistake. This is actually not the possessive particle, but it's actually, then we have nori. So it's actually a compound, tamanori, compound noun. But yeah, at least my mistake was useful to mention that rule again, which is quite useful as a reminder. Nori comes from noru, the verb, which is unaccented by the way, means to get on a train, plane, bus, a ship, technically also ride, even though it isn't mentioned in the dictionary, but we've seen in practice that it can be used as such to ride a horse. But yeah, to get on. It's a U verb, colon verb, so we can change the U into I to make the continuative form, and so the corresponding noun. Nori would mean, and we can see it also that it means actually ride from that, because the corresponding noun nori, also an accented luckily, so it follows the rules, means riding, ride as in a ride. Other extended meanings, but we'll ignore them for now. And so yeah, simply tamanori, we checked actually its accent as a compound. Okay, as a compound, it becomes accented on the no. And so, yet again, one of the typical spots for such compounds on the first syllable of the second part of the compound, literally riding a ball, and so the balancing on a ball. And then of course we have Pikachu again. After that we have Zanai Ka. First and foremost, Zanai, it's the contracted form of Dewa Nai, the form of the copula, Wa, the topic particle, in this case used most likely because we then had a negative verb, a negative adjective in this case. But yeah, it's required, and that's also why more often than not it's actually contracted and becomes za instead, because of course it's shorter and easier to pronounce instead of the one I za. And then we had nai, the usual adjective, which means to not be, as in non-existent, not being there, used as we have seen after also for the negative form of verbs. And yeah, so we have so janai, the one I, is the negative form of the copula in the present, of course in plain speech. Then we have ka, technically the interrogative particle. In this case, although not to make an actual question, but to make a rhetorical one. So, isn't it a Pikachu riding a ball, a Pikachu balancing on a ball? And yeah, then we get this. In the middle we can see Specialu, and now we finally see what this Specialu is. We have seen when we checked the Pokemon Repoto before. So special, yeah, are these special, and it's by the way accented on the P as expected, just like in English, and the U of su is barely heard if at all, since it's between unvoiced consonants. So su special. But yeah, then it says Tamanori Pikachu nara kore dake de Rokuju sorry, we have a 600, so Ropyaku ten no kachi wa aru zo. First and foremost, we have, of course, Tamanori Pikachu, so the balancing on a ball Pikachu. Then we have Nara. We have seen it. It's a form of the it's an auxiliary for the conditional if. Technically, it's a form of the classical copula Nari. Here it becomes in the Irrealis form, so we change the E into A. Irrealis also literally in Japanese not yet state form, used for the negative, as seen also in verbs in modern Japanese, but in classical Japanese also for the conditional, because of course not yet, and so something not yet happened, and so can be used as the condition for something else to then happen, if that happens first, of course. But yeah, simply if. In this case, used in can also be used after a noun, like in this case, as in as for, on the topic of, kind of like the wa particle, but of course it puts, we could say, more emphasis in a way, and literally it would still mean if it is the Pikachu balancing on the ball, and then the rest of the sentence, which is first and foremost correct. Again, this da che is a particle, which means only, just, simply, but also as in, because of that, only, just, no more than, and by extension it actually gets also the meaning as much as, to the extent of, enough to. And let's say that it's actually the meaning here to the extent of, as much as. Then we have the. I'd say in this case it could be simply the third form of the copula. Or you could say also with, but technically I'd say in Japanese it's actually the third form of the copula. So literally being to the extent of this. And then we have our the amount of points, ropyaku 10. First and foremost, we have the number 600, which in Japanese is pronounced ropyaku. Notice that from roku and hyaku on its own, accent on the last syllable would mean 100. When we combine them, roku and hyaku, we actually the final part of roku gets shortened and becomes the doubling of the consonant. But because of the doubling of the consonant, the hyaku becomes pyaku, or even better, as I mentioned also before in other similar cases, it actually stayed pyaku because originally all the ha, hi, fu, he, ho syllables, the hagyo, the ha column, was actually pa with the p, so papi, pu, pe, po. And only later, with the evolution of the Japanese language, they became ha, hi, fu, he, ho. And so yeah, the doubling of the consonant actually kept the original P. But yeah, you simply have to remember it's the rule that it becomes like this, so shortening of ro, and so the doubling of the following consonant, and so we keep the pyaku instead of hyaku. Ropyaku, luckily also accented on the last syllable. Unfortunately, here in the dictionary, by adding te with hyaku, it doesn't say its accent. I'd say it would keep just like most, I think most it was, if not all, words with the numerals with the 10 counter, 10, which means points. It was accented on the te, if I recall correctly, but we'll check. Yeah, it was accented on the 10, and yeah, I'd say there are some exceptions, but yeah, I'd say in this case most likely it would be on the 10, ropyaku 10. Then we have the possessive particle no, this time for real. Then we have kachi, a noun, or it's yet again a Chinese compound. So yeah, actually this one is one of those which is actually accented on the first syllable, so be careful. So kachi, it means value, and by extension also worth, merit. But yeah, the fundamental meaning is value. Then we have the topic particle wa, And then we have the verb aru, again as mentioned, to be as in to exist, so also in translation there is, there are, and then again our usual zo, let's say for emphasis. And so that full translation becomes literally, if it is Pikachu riding a ball, balancing on a ball, as for being it to the extent of this, as for a value of 600 points, there is implied such a value. So yeah, it has, as a reminder, aru, these verbs of existence, aru, iru, so also oru technically, can also mean, by extension, the verb to have. Usually in the wa-ga structure, and so usually we would have the one that has something marked with wa, the topic particle, the something which exists for that person marked with ga, the subject particle, and then the verb of existence. And so as for that person, that something exists, and so that person has that something. In this case, since we mark what would be the object of the verb, the something that exists, even better, literally, is marked with wa, most likely to put the focus on it, on the verb aru. They changed the wa, which we could have used for Tamanori Pikachu, to Nara. But yeah, the structure is clearly the same, so yeah. And also in translation it would be better. Pikachu riding on a ball has a value of 600 points, and being this way, being to this extent. Yeah, we can proceed. Okay, now we can see also this one, which we haven't seen before, because of course we didn't have previous pictures. Here it says Pikachu no shashin wa, then the Japanese comma, mae ni mototte iru, mae ni mo totte iru na, and then the suspension dots. So first and foremost we have, of course, Pikachu, then the possessive particle no, shashin, so picture of Pikachu, then the topic particle wa, and so as for the pictures, a picture of Pikachu. Then we have mae, should be accented on the first syllable, by the way. It means in front of, so before a building, for example, but also before in a temporal sense. In this case, clearly in a temporal sense. Then we have the particle ni, at, in the sense of at a specific time. Then we have the inclusive particle mo, so even at, before, literally, but yeah, even before, better in translation. And then, so we have actually simply our verb totte, and then of course also iru, totte from toru, as in to take, in this case specifically picture. We make the form to then add Iru. The form Teiru, either a continuing action or continuing state. In this case, let's say continuing state because we aren't currently taking pictures of Pikachu. We are in the state of having taken before, even before, as it says here, a picture of Pikachu. And so yeah, we have the translation as for the photo of Pikachu. Even before you have taken it implied. And then our usual nut at the end, but yeah. I'd say again, you know. And then we get the same, the literally bigness, so the size, the pose perfect, the technique also perfect.
Yes.
Okay, we got to hear Professor Ox say Yosh. Pretty funny. So glad we are playing this to hear these voices of Ox in Japanese. Yeah, Yosh simply, of course, from it's the duplication of Yosh on its own. We have seen that it's simply the classical form of the adjective yoi, usually on its own pronounced as e nowadays, but in conjugation it becomes yoi again, also in contemporary Japanese, which means adjective which means good, fine, okay. So yeah, so this Yosh also on its own means okay, fine. Yeah, when doubled, also the same. Accented also on the first syllable, Yosh, as we have also heard. And so yeah, alright, very well, fine, okay. So the doubling also puts more emphasis on it, used to express approval or acceptance. Also used, and this is interesting, as in there, used to comfort someone, as if we were saying it's okay. And yeah, by extension it becomes in children's language the patting of a child on the head, stroking, caressing, because of course you'd say yosh to a child while comforting them by patting them on the head. Yeah, then after that we have konkai again. We have seen it multiple times. It means this time, accent on the first syllable. Then we have, even though it's a Chinese compound, so be careful. Then we have the possessive particle no. Then we have ho, which is quite interesting because it's a noun, which means its fundamental meaning is direction, way, also by extension side, area, in a particular direction. Also side, for example, of an argument. And by extension also indicates one side of a comparison. On this, so the side of this time. So, sorry, as we can see also above, it's seen the picture of on the right. We can see konkai also there. the one before it, on the left, we can see, on the other hand, Zenkai. Which means, of course, previous time. Notice again Kai, which is time, also the counter for occurrences, I've already seen it multiple times. The Zen before it, pun intended, because it's actually the Chinese reading of the character, which has the strictly Japanese reading by the one which we have seen means before. And so yeah, previous time. Yeah, he says now the side in a comparison of this time, so the one on the right, then we have the subject particle ga. Then we have yoku, again from yoi. It becomes it's a adjective, so we can drop the e and add ku to make the corresponding the adverbial form, and in this case actually the adverb, not so well. And then we have this verb tore toru, which actually simply is yet again. First and foremost, we start with toru, the usual take, in this case specifically for pictures. Then we make it's a u verb, godan verb, so we can change the u into e and add ru. We can see the ru because of further conjugation to make the potential form. So can take. Then we would make actually the potential form is a ru verb incident verb, so we can drop the ru and add te to make the te form. Can be seen here because of contraction actually, as we'll see soon enough. Te form required because then we would add oru, again simply the humble form of iru. And so we have yet again a teiru form actually, a continuing action or continuing state. I'd say technically a continuing state. So you have taken well. Or even better, because we have to keep the potential. Well, let's fully translate now. Very well, like we could say. The yosh, or even alright, to avoid confusion later. Alright. The side of this time has been you implied have been able to take it well. So you took well this picture. And yes, so this is the picture that we are actually keeping. After that, let's continue with this. Yeah, simply the usual, so... Okay, this is interesting because of course we have an extra, as we can see also because we get more points for the pose this time. Well, again, at first we see the same, pose wa do kana. As for the pose, I wonder how it is. And then Oak says this. Oh! Dokan shita no kana, no ka. Sorry. And it stops there. Then we have the period, the Japanese period, which is a circle. Again, first we have O, just like English O. Then we have Dokkan, which is, as you might imagine, by its sound an onomatopoeia, and also by the context, which means usually could be used as Dokkan without even the lengthening, but we can also find it with the lengthening. In this case, we also have an additional doubling of the consonant to make it even more emphatic, emphasize its meaning. Yeah, Dokkan means, actually check its accent, by the way. Yeah, the accent is on the K, as expected, considering the sound. It's with a bang, and so because it's an explosion. And here with a big explosion with also the doubling of the consonant and the lengthening of the vowel. Then we have sta from suru, the verb to do. So literally did a big explosion. Suru, it's completely irregular, so we simply have to remember that to make its sta form, it becomes sta. And so yeah, past form of the verb. Then we have no, again, our usual nominalizer of the verb, and then ka, technically the interrogative particle again. But yeah, simply it becomes this no ka together, a way to as it says also here in the dictionary, endorsing and questioning the preceding statement, or lamenting reflection on the preceding statement. Well, I'd say simply because here it's simply to point out that Oak has realized that the pose is particular, especially at this time, because the electrode exploded. And so we get 1,200 points. So Nissan, sorry, no, that would be 2,000. Sen Nihyaku 10. Again, unfortunately, we have the 10 with the Hyaku, so unfortunately we don't know for sure. I'd say the accent will be on the 10. 200 on its own would be Nihyaku, luckily accented also on the ku at the end, on the final syllable, just like Hyaku on its own. And then of course we have za, na, the usual copula, za in this case because it's the one used by all characters in fiction, and so like Professor Oak, and the usual na. Technique. The usual subarashi. And now we have this. Yeah, not the best. And yeah, the pose is bad. And so yeah, it's regrettable. Oshino, as Professor Rock said. So bad one. Let's see the other ones. Okay. Perfect. And so yeah, this one is wonderful, as it's say also in English. We have our Zubat. Not bad considering everything, so yeah. another subarashi. The hunter is really good, and yeah, good. The technique, which was what I was worried about, worked. Yeah, the Tigret. And yeah, the doubling of the points as usual. Because of the technique. Yeah, another wonderful Subarashi. We have the Dactylios. Okay, here I think it says something different. Specific for Dactylio, even though it's still 1,000 points. Sorry. It says again pose wa do kana. As for the pose, how it is. Tobidasu Shunkan Jana. So we have first and foremost Tobidasu, which is technically a compound verb from Tobu, which we have seen before, means is an accented, means either to fly, to soar, or by extension, usually with a different kanji, even though not always, to jump. Dasu is, well, of course, Tobu is a U verb codon verb, so we can change the U into I to make the continuative form, and so to then add the second part of the second verb, the second part of the compound. Then we have Dasu, which means on its own to take out, to put out. So yeah, taking something out, to putting something out. But yeah, when used as the second part of verb compound, it has either the meanings out, the fundamental one. So yeah, in our case, as we'll soon see, literally jump out. It can also be used to have the meaning to begin, to start to, or even better, to burst into, because we'll see that there's another verb which means to begin, but this one is more something that spontaneously starts, while the other one is an actual to begin doing something, to start to do something. But we'll see that when the time comes. Just wanted to introduce it. Yes, so Tobidasu, Dasu accented. Luckily, Tobidasu also accented, just like Dasu. And yeah, so simply to jump out. Verb, which is then referred to the following noun, which is Shunkan, which means instant. We check its accent as usual. Yeah, unaccented since it's a Chinese compound, so as usual. Then of course we have again Jana. So it's the instant in which implied, because the verb Tobidasu is in a relative attributive position, in which it implied the Dactylio jumps out, and so we have Senten. So again, unfortunately, we don't know the exact accent, but I'd say still on the 10. So 1,000 points. The technique, perfect. And yeah, the usual, because we have more Dactylios in the picture, and so we get some bonus points. Subarashi. And so yeah, we can see this now. We have the update to our results. And yeah, as you can see here, then we have Jitsu Wana. And so there will actually be something that Hawk says when we go back to the lab. Before we'll do that next time, but before saving the state, and then of course we have the outro and ending the stream, I wanted to check out, because we have these additional writings in the middle, simply because we added something to the album. First and foremost, we have Arubamu no Maisu. First and foremost, of course, album, Arubamu, then the possessive particle no. Then we have Maisu, which you might have guessed it, the Mai is again the counter for flat things. Su, we have seen it before, is the Chinese reading of the kanji for number, amount. The strictly Japanese reading is kazu, we have seen that for sure. And so Maisu, by the way, accent on the su, so be careful, it's an exception because technically it's a Chinese compound, is literally the number of flat things. And then of course we have ichi mai, because we have only one. After that we have Arubamu no Nokori, again album no, so of the album. So before above we had the number of flat things of the album. Here we have of the album Nokori, as I mentioned, from Nokoru, Nokoru, as it's accented, to remain, to be, as in to be left. It's a verb colon verb, so we can change the U into it to make the continuative form and the corresponding noun. Nokori, let's see its accent. Yeah, accent on the last syllable, so as per the rule. The remainder, the remnant, the rest. What is left, literally. Balance, leftovers, so simply remain, to remain, and so remainder, and so on. And yeah, we have Goju Q Mai, so 59. And yeah, so we've checked that we can actually save our state here, so that next time we can start from there. Perfect. And yeah, now we can actually close. Well, I close it after the stream because I have to change controller. But yeah, with that we have played. We have checked that additional writing when you save and quit the game. We have played the second course. We went through, we checked the additional writings when choosing the marks for the photos. We went through the Professor Ock's check for this course. And yeah, next time we'll check out what he has to say after. Next time, which won't be on Friday, but unless plans change, will be on Monday, so the next day for our usual streams for the Let's Learn Japanese with series. Because, as you might have heard, tomorrow there will be the second Kirby and Riders Direct. And so I'll watch and react. Of course, we'll simply watch because I'll still watch it live on my own. But the day after, and so on Friday, I'll watch the Japanese version. And since I don't have time in addition to the usual stream, I simply replace the usual stream with that. We'll dedicate the usual stream to that. And yeah, so that's our plans. And then, of course, we also have on Sunday, unless plans change, our usual game, mostly just for fun. We'll see what we play if when the time comes. But yeah, see you next time.